Hello guys, hope everyone is having a good day. Now, in this video, I will be basically doing a little trade recap of a position I took earlier today during pre-New York session. I'm going to be basically breaking down how and why I took the play, and in essence, it's resulted in a nice 1 to 4R. This was an intraday play, and I'll leave screenshots at somewhere in this video, so to show you guys proof of my entry and my exit on this current position, which is now closed out as it hit my TP perfectly. I'll also be giving out why I had my particular level set as well. So if we, without further ado, just get right into the video. Now, before I go deep dive into EU on a cleaner chart, I'm going to first go over DXY, because this was based off the DXY intraday movements. Now, this is my bias for the DXY coming in for this week. I'm expecting to see price come back down into this demand region of 1.03 before we see a flush into the highs of 1.05. That is going to be a break or bounce scenario. Either we break, we push to the upside to fill in previous gap, which is the scenario I'm favoring. Otherwise, we see a nice little bearish reaction where I'm going to expect to see a potential break of this low, or we come back to retest this region here. This region here, okay, mainly because there's a bit of inefficiency left there. So this is where we're going to be. I think FOMC will lead tomorrow. With this, with the impact of the fundamentals to see where price really drives for the USD. But if I scope down on the lower time frame, because that's more of a macro perspective, the reason I took the intraday position is if I scope down, if I go back a bit, right, basically we've had what we had today was we had the highs, we had relative equal highs, and we had relative equal lows. So what I was initially anticipating was price to come up, take out this liquidity, which it did. It mitigated this order block to the left here, right, which this zone got mitigated. Then price, I was looking for price to come back and retest this region before we see price come back down to take out these two equal lows to at the bottom, because now the highs been basically taken care of. I want to see, what I want to see was a clearance or flush of liquidity or the lows, as that was the nicest probability or the highest probability of the position I was looking at for before then tomorrow, where we see another push up on the DXY, where I'd be looking to short the majors that are paid against the dollar, basically, if that makes sense. So basically, yeah, there was a very clear setup. If I scope down on the 5 minutes, basically what we had was a range bound movement. If we look, 1 second, right, we have range bound movement. Let's give this, right, which is a range, and then we have clear inefficiency above here, which would be my most which would be my premium higher region. Let's mark out as gray, right? That is my premium region. So in essence, what we saw here, if I let it play, we saw continued range, and then we saw manipulation. If I just tag it, let's leave a tick here. We had clear manipulation above, and then you in essence waiting for a break of this low. 1 sec. Basically waiting for a break of this low to then short price into a region, which is in essence exactly how price played. You could even have gotten it earlier depending on how your strategy works or your system plays, but this is how I got into this movement. Again, price reacted perfectly from that level, came up, retraced higher, and then pushed down lower, leaving even more liquidity, right, which we saw a retracement above after, which I'll be going over shortly. This is after the move has taken place on EU. Okay, so this was the confluence of why, one of the major confluences of why I was looking for buys on EU. Now let's get on to EU as where I got to building my bias. Okay, now again, I trade based off the higher time frames. Those are where my focus is usually always is. Okay, I focus on higher time frames. I understand my zones and my levels, and then I move down lower. Now my main zone, right, for you guys that don't know, is down here. That's my main demand level, right? My daily order block. Why? Because it broke structure to the left and it had large inefficiency. Okay, so it took out all these structure points to the left here. Let's leave it as black so it's easy to see. It took out a lot of structure to the left, and it gave a big impulse in price. So if you look from the mid region of this push, you know, that's about a 500 pip move, right? So there's a lot of there's a lot of confidence built within this region. So I was looking for price to potentially come back within this region before I was going to look for longs, right, to come in on my swing perspective. But understand this move is more on the lower time frames. I was looking for a more smaller push on the lower time frame. So I mapped out that zone right first. And then my second zone, which I mapped out on the lower time frames, of course, was where I was looking for potential buyers from, was this region here. If I show you on the 15-minute, it's a bit more easier to illustrate. I think it's easier if I do this where I was looking for these buyers. Right. Okay, right here. Now the main buyers where I was looking for was from this level, which grabbed my interest. This region here is where I was looking for those buyers. Now there's a number of reasons why I was looking for regions for this region. First one is we're seeing slower momentum coming down, right? We're seeing slower momentum in price, which meant that price was getting ready to let bulls step into the market. Right. Sorry about that. So yeah, as price is slowing down in momentum, it allows bulls to get in bulls to get into control. This is something you see, a characteristic you often see once you see reversals take place in the market. Now the second thing I saw was this was a sort of a reversal pattern on the lower time frame. You have a range, you have a manipulation again, before you had your expansion, right, to the upside here, right? Range, manipulation, and then expansion to the upside. So this was a major reversal pattern on the lower time frame. So this was the last zone that I liked, mainly because there was a bit of imbalance left within this region. So hence why I was looking for buyers within this region. Now, in order for order confirmation, I can't go exactly through my full order entries, but one thing I can do is show you. I trade a lot of liquidity based setups. So one thing I saw here was relative equal lows, which I was expecting to get tagged. So once I saw that, I left a limit order within this region. It was the 499, which was at the, I believe it was, let's see where it was. What time was this? So it's 10. Let's see how price plays. Right, here. So what I did is I scoped down on the 1 minute, from what I remember correctly, and there was a zone I liked, which was this region here. Again, if you ask me why, it's mainly because there was imbalance left within this region. So I left a buy limit order here, waiting for price to come down and trigger me in, and left my stops just below this low, because sometimes when you see moves like this made, you see price being manipulative. So what price will often do sometimes is it will come down, right, fill the order, and then stagnate, take out maybe the wick low before it makes this reversal. So that's why I always recommend to leave some leeway if there is a low, as that is still a form of liquidity. Okay, so that was my buy order limit. Again, I'll leave screenshots somewhere here so you guys can see. And then secondly, my target, well, I had a number, I had two targets, but my first target was, in essence, if I scroll on the 5 minute, my first target was this region here. Again, there's liquidity on the lower time frames. If I get rid of this, there was also liquidity, basically relative equal highs here. So my target was above this region here, and I was looking for price that may possibly come above and mitigate this region, because that's where liquidity is lying on the lower time frames, right? We saw this zone create that push that broke this structure on the low. So I was looking for this region to get mitigated to the extreme, possibly. So this is why my first target was here, and then my second target was to come and mitigate this region here above. Okay, and again, to the extremes is where I left my TP at, which was around this region. And again, if we see what price did, it's very important to understand that it also met up with my session session confluence, because Asia high got taken and then Asia low has now been taken. So now I'm expecting to see a retest of back on of that liquidity after Asia high and low were cleared. So if I tick that as well, Asia high, and then let's just clone that. Okay, that's annoying. Okay. My god, is that annoying. Alright, anyway, Asia high taken, and then Asia low basically taken. So very simple premise. Okay, once I saw that, I was expecting to see a retest. And one thing, if you guys haven't known this already, if you backtest enough, you'll see New York after London offers a main push. New York offers a reversal. This is most of the time. So again, I recommend you backtest this. But again, when this was just pre New York, but this was exactly what I was waiting for. Price tagged us in, right? It retested the zone a few times before New York session came in, and then it tagged in one more time in New York session to finally give us that pinpoint target of a nice 124R position, right? My my entry was a little lower, but again, I'll leave screenshots of that setup here shortly. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Please do leave a like and subscribe if you found value. Please do comment, it does help with the algorithm, and let me know what sort of more videos you'd like to see from me in the future. With all that said and done, I'll